Hello, everyone. Uh, guess what? I have remember Deez? Yeah, I have him here.
Hello,
It is
I'm
Deez.
Deez.
That Deez.
I'm the
All
guy who
right.
grew up.
Yep. And I had to clean it up, but that's in the past. This is the present. Uh, we're doing a FNAF tier list. Because both of us are very much into the FNAF series, so we figured that this would be
Or,
a
or, 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 or.
a perfect example. Um, so I have kind
Oh,
of
absolutely.
kind of a way I want to do this. So, in my mind, I say that we go through all the main games and we start from the beginning, obviously. And I want to rate them on everything, like the release state. If it was buggy, I want to rate it on the graphics, the story, um,
The
every yeah, scariness, every aspect about it. So, because that'll definitely come into play for some later games. I don't know if
what if there were bugs and then it was fixed later on?
I would consider the launch as an important part of the game. So, Security Breach is
Oh
gonna
yeah,
have
that's absolutely.
a bit of a tough time, but it's fine. So, um, let's start off with FNAF 1, I guess. That seems appropriate. Um, what is your uh, what is your opinion on FNAF 1?
So I think FNAF 1 is really good. I think FNAF 1 is definitely one of the scariest in the series. However, like other FNAF games, it can get like really repetitive, especially with like the way like the animatronics AI is like you're just constantly doing like the same thing. Like Nights Free and onward, you're just doing the same thing. You're doing like camera, light, camera, light, camera, light, camera, light, and it gets so repetitive. And then you just get like really tired because the nights are like almost 9 minutes.
Um,
But like the animatronic design is like fantastic.
so yeah, I agree with basically everything there. Although I will say that I do believe you're wrong when you say that the nights are almost 9 minutes. I believe that the nights are around 5 minutes and 30 seconds, which is
No, they're,
still
they're
yeah. Go
no,
on.
they're 8 minutes and 55 seconds.
Oh, well, that is absurd, I have to say. So, it's been a while since I've done a full playthrough of FNAF 1. I really don't remember like the times and stuff.
I played it.
I just know
I
that
played it in March.
yeah, I just know that it is very repetitive, and I agree with that. The gameplay, if it's your first time going through and you don't know a lot about it, that is the best experience because um, you really don't know what you're doing, and I think that that's probably the best.
It's definitely not perfect. Like there are like weird veins. Like basically every FNAF game, if you get jump
One
scared like
second,
late
one
into the
second, one
night,
second.
it gets like Vito, 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 Vito.
Okay, sorry about that. Just kind of repeat what
Yeah,
you were saying because I'm gonna
exactly.
have to cut that out. So,
So I would place it in like an upper A tier because like most other games, it's definitely not perfect. Like the jump scares, like if you get jump scared late in your night and then like you have to restart the whole thing over, it's very annoying
um,
and other stuff. So I would say like upper A tier.
I am fine with A. That seems appropriate to me. I will also say I want to mention the story. The story of FNAF 1 is extremely simple, and I think that that's probably
Pretty
like
much.
it's a good thing of it. Just the newspaper clippings that imply that they're haunted. I think that that's a really important like part of the game. Uh,
I wish
A
Sparky
A is good to me.
was the
Well, he's in the movie, so I think that's good enough.
we'll talk about the movie at a later point.
That's true. Okay, FNAF 2. Do you want to start again?
Yeah, so I just want to do a disclaimer. I've really only played like 4 of these games, including the first one. So I haven't played FNAF 2. So most games I'm just gonna go off what I've seen already. So the thing everyone says about FNAF 2 is the difficulty, and like yeah, that makes sense. Like if you've seen any playthrough, you'll see how much they like get killed and stuff. And it gets very annoying and very repetitive because you constantly have to like check where people are. You constantly have to wind the music box, and
Um,
it's just it's annoying. Again, like I haven't played it,
yeah, I agree.
but from what I know,
Long ago in the history of my channel, I actually uploaded a playthrough of FNAF 2 where my voice sounded terrible, and
did you beat it?
I did not because it is too hard and the mobile version was completely bugged. So,
Oh,
uh,
you played mobile first.
yeah, I played I didn't have a computer then, so that was kind of how it was. FNAF 2, I did want to say, um, I agree. The gameplay is extremely repetitive. There's not enough different mechanics with the animatronics, and I would love to say that like the graphics and everything about it are amazing, but you never get to look at the cameras because you always have to wind the music box. You never get to see any of the cool camera renders at all.
Always keep the camera on the weapon, because you just constantly need to keep winding the music box.
Yeah,
Don't ever get me started on like Game Boy and like the vent animatronics.
yeah, it's a good game, but it is very far from perfect. And I do want to say, Help Wanted 2, or not Help Wanted 2, sorry, Help Wanted 1 kind of fixes some of the stuff with FNAF 2 that I didn't really like, except the fact that the main Five Nights don't have the withered animatronics, which is really weird to me. But the main thing about FNAF 2
Weird.
in Help Wanted 1, they didn't fix the problem with the music box, so you still never have to look at any other camera. I think they should have put a physical music box on the desk that you actually have to wind, so that you can still check the other cameras.
Yeah, that would have been so much better.
Help Wanted 1 was definitely sort of a rough game, especially in the beginning. Like, it was really good, but it had a lot of problems. FNAF 2, I'm going to quickly talk about the story because I think that it's kind of important. Seeing as the game is a prequel, that was pretty easy to figure out. Phone guy's still alive, so that makes sense. I like the fact that the game kind of actually leaned into the Bite of 87, despite the fact that everyone believed the Bite of 87 was in FNAF 4 at first. FNAF 2 is actually pretty heavy on the evidence implying that the Bite of 87 happens during the week of FNAF 2. Because like with the phone guy call, the lockdown, the next day, like the party, and you play as different night guards. So it's like, it implies that the Bite of 87 happened during the course of the day shifts of FNAF 2, which I thought was really interesting. Also, the death mini games that show Purple Guy and him being a different color in one of them and whatever, that really added the speculation, and I really liked that about FNAF 2 because it felt like it was an extremely well thought out game, like that it really did add to the story while still keeping theories alive.
Yeah, you on map had to keep having a job.
Also, all the Easter eggs too, like Dee Dee, the endoskeleton, the Paper Pals, Shadow Bonnie, Shadow Freddy, just a lot of really cool stuff in the game.
Yeah, I read or I saw in a video that apparently originally there was like a toxicity meter to keep players from wearing the Freddy mask for too long.
Yeah, that was an intended mechanic that they actually, or Scott never ended up implementing. Because Foxy is basically the toxicity meter where you can't wear the mask when he's in the hallway. So, I say that we should put this game in B because it is not as atmospheric as FNAF 1. The gameplay is really repetitive.
Yeah, I don't really feel the atmosphere that much, considering you really only see one camera.
Yeah, like
so I don't feel like the atmosphere like the first one. And like to be fair, like for the first one, you are pretty much always looking at like one camera, but still.
Even then, like in the early nights, you have a reason to look at the other cameras. And like with FNAF 1 especially, when I'm playing it, like I'm experienced in the game and I know how the animatronics work, but I still find myself checking the other cameras to see where the animatronics are, even though I know I don't need to.
Definitely.
Whereas with FNAF 2, I never do that because I can basically tell where they all at there where they oh my goodness, sorry. Where they are at all times. So I say B. Are you okay with B?
I'm perfectly fine with B.
Alright. Uh FNAF 3.
I have not played FNAF 3.
I have not played FNAF 3 either, but um I definitely do know enough about the game, I think, to give it a justified ranking on this board. Do you have
So,
anything you want to say about the game?
yeah, so I also think I know enough about the game to put it in a ranking. What I don't like about FNAF 3, I just think FNAF 3 is kind of ugly. Like, the textures were really weird, and it's constantly using this, like, vomit shade of green, and it's, like, really weird. And the Phantom animatronics can get, like, really annoying, considering that they can't kill you, but Springtrap. Springtrap is the only animatronic that can kill you. And what I find really annoying is that Phantom Puppet's jump scare, quote unquote, lasts like 17 seconds and you can't do anything else while it's happening. And that's like really, really annoying. And if you
Um,
like if you
go
like
ahead.
don't click away from scanner like immediately, like if you're slightly too late, boom, you get like a really weird jump scare from like Phantom Chica or like Balloon Boy.
I fully agree with everything you said. Um, and I do think that the game is very ugly. I like the mechanics of leading Springtrap around, although sometimes it can be really inconsistent, and I don't like that. Um, again, I want to
Yeah,
go in
especially with
the story where the story of this game is actually incredible. Like the happiest day mini game, um, the secret mini
definitely.
games are a little weird to access, but there are implications of how to get to them at least in the other mini games. The post night mini games, and especially how you learn that William Afton was the one inside the suit all along after you beat the game, it makes it
Absolutely.
feel amazing. I love the story of FNAF 3.
Yeah. Also, a lot of people already say this, but I'm just gonna say it. Springtrap's jump scare sucks.
Oh yeah, it's
I
not
know that. I
good.
know that's what. I know that's what everyone says, but it sucks.
It is an important part of the game. That's the thing, and that is the whole reason that the series kept
And
going after 3.
well, Scott originally wanted to end it at free, but
Yeah.
he was like, "No, make more."
Um.
I don't know why he decided. I don't know the exact reason he decided to make more, but he
The
did
okay,
make it.
I do
He
actually. The reason he decided to make more is because people didn't like the jump scare. That's why FNAF 4's jump scares are so
oh,
good.
right, I do remember that. Okay, we'll talk about FNAF 4 just in a minute.
So FNAF 3, I
Because I
think, despite all the stuff about it that I don't like, I still think it deserves a C because it wrapped up the series at the time really perfectly.
definitely.
Uh,
Oh, right, the phone guy is like that weird surfer dude. I always
oh
get
yeah,
put off by that.
phone dude, and then you get to listen to the tapes about the Springlock suits too, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, we found one, a real one. So do you think that FNAF 3 should go above or below FNAF 2?
I feel it's definitely weaker than FNAF 2, so below.
I'm good with that. I like that. That is good, I think. Um,
All right,
okay,
so
FNAF 4.
FNAF 4. I have played FNAF 4, and I
So have
gotta
I.
tell you, if you would have asked me like 3 or 4 or maybe 5 years ago, I would have said FNAF 4 is my all-time favorite, and you should put it in S immediately. But now that I've played, I've noticed some flaws. But what I really love about the game, I think it has one of the best atmospheres in
Absolutely.
FNAF series history. Like this, like you're in like a child's room. A child's room is usually like pretty comfy feeling, but considering like it's dark and then it's like this like creepy tune, like quiet tune playing in the background. Considering you have to turn your headphone volume up to be able to like listen for stuff, and this is the first one that had like a unique mechanic where you're like where there are no cameras. There's not even any audible dialogue. There's not like dialogue in the game. It's just like text. And then like, you run to the doors, and then like even like if I know I'm not gonna get jump scared when I still like flash the flashlight, it still like jump a little bit because it happens like so suddenly. And then when you do get jump scared, you're probably gonna have to go to a doctor to get your ears fixed because it's gonna be so loud. And then like the nightmare animatronic designs are wonderful. I love those. I feel like the story is amazing. Was that the bite of 87? You all know that meme.
That's a classic. I gotta say,
But
sorry. No,
yeah,
keep going, keep going.
no, that's pretty much all I want.
Oh, okay, cool. So FNAF 4, I agree with everything, except a little bit about the story. But I will say that by far, not FNAR. Oh my goodness. By far, FNAF 4 is the scariest FNAF game in my opinion. The only ones
Oh, I
that
got.
beat it are Help Wanted 1 and 2, but that is only because they're VR. Um,
I have
4
an anecdote to tell.
4 still
So,
manages to make me freak out like all the time.
oh yeah, 4 is terrifying. I do have a little anecdote. I was playing FNAF 4, and like the day I got it, I was on night 1, and I was joking like the whole marketplace, and like first night is never easy that bad in the game. And my brother asked me a question because he was like behind me, so I turned around to go look at him, and then my microphone like rubbed up against my shirt, so like it made a noise. And then the exact time that happened, Chica was right there and breathed, and it happened like simultaneously. So I just thought it was just my shirt. So I flashed the flashlight, and I got jump scared.
I
And it was
remember
so weird and funny.
I played FNAF 4 like a month after it came out, and I literally couldn't play it because it was too scary. Like I
Definitely.
was too scared to play it. But now I've played it more. I still haven't beaten it. It's terrifying. It freaks me out so much, like beyond any other FNAF game other than the VR ones. Um, but FNAF 4, I gotta say, the story of it is one thing that I can't really get over, and that is because Scott Cawthon, again, intended this to be the last game, and it's pretty obvious now that what he was going for was Dream Theory, and
Yeah, but Dream Theory is such a cop out way
I know, and
of
I
like
don't like
killing
Dream
people, and
Theory.
it's so dumb. So
The
maybe that's why he continued.
the box is a really cool element, but I still don't really like it because he says
I
that
have more to say about the box
yeah,
later.
I will say he has said that the contents of the box has changed over the
Oh yeah, and the
course
doctor.
of the series history. But to me, that makes the contents of the box completely pointless because if they can change, then why should I really worry about what's inside?
Exactly.
Like
I do think all the stuff with like the crying child, like in the mini games, it's like really sad
it is.
because he's not like being left alone. But I definitely feel like it's a little bit formulaic. Like you can tell that he's gonna die at the end. Like I still think
Even
it's well done.
yeah, it is very well done. I think that the whole game is executed really well. Fun with Plush Trap is great. And I do think
Oh, Fun of Plush is terrifying.
I think that this game deserves an A, but I don't think it needs to be higher than Five Nights at Freddy's 1 because of what it did to the story. I don't think it deserves.
Absolutely.
I think that what it did to the story was good and bad because it introduced like the idea of the Afton family, but also it wasn't really, since it was meant to be Dream Theory, it kind of like destroyed all the stuff that we've been building up to the whole time. So I will put it in A, just not as high as FNAF 1 because of what it did to the story at the time.
Nightmare's jump scare is stupid. It's not even a jump scare.
I find that Nightmarion is much scarier.
Didn't he say FNAF? Didn't he say Nightmare Balloon Boy was canon? That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so I don't want to go too much into this, but Nightmare Balloon Boy is only canon because Balloon Boy actually did exist at the time, whereas the other characters would not have existed. So the idea is that Balloon Boy was created before the FNAF 2 animatronics, which would allow him to be canon while the other ones aren't, and still keeping the timeline like in check. Which is it's really
Yeah.
weird, and I'm sure there's like a 40-minute video that I watched explaining it, and I still don't fully understand it, but it it sort of makes sense.
All right, now the most infamous FNAF game, World.
I actually
I
I've
highly doubt that you
not
played
played it.
this.
Yeah, I have not played FNAF World. I've watched
You
full
don't even
playthroughs.
know.
I've seen everything about the game, but I still I don't know how to feel about it.
I mean, I know it's kind of the point, but it's just really stupid.
I honestly
Although
don't no, go ahead.
I will say I did see a video where this guy was talking about cut content in FNAF games, and he got to World, and there's actually like a bit of lost content for World. One of them that's like in the game's files is a picture of the FNAF 4 box, but it's actually opened, which has some
Yeah,
really weird input.
I remember that, and that implies that the FNAF World game is an integral part to the story, and I truly believe it is. I think that FNAF World is kind of like showing how the spirits were led along. Like maybe it was Michael, maybe it was Evan, the crying child, if that's his name. Um, I do think
I
that
never
FNAF
played
World
that.
is it's I here's the thing. The gameplay is good. The story is decent, but the time it came out and what it did to the reputation of the series is really annoying because it was kind of released in a time that everyone was like confused about what was actually going on with the story. And then instead of him releasing the fifth game, he released FNAF World, which was just really confusing. So
Speak-
I think I'm gonna
um,
put it in C because it's not a bad game by any means, but it's also just like not good for the time that it came out, especially.
Speaking about the story, I will say the cutscene with like Henry at his table is really good.
It's
That's a good
good, but
cutscene.
also, um, Henry didn't create Baby, or maybe he did, but also he dies in that cutscene, which does not make any sense to me because he comes back in 6. I do really like the
I
idea
forgot about that.
that
Yeah, never mind.
I do
Never mind.
like
That
the
cutscene's
idea
good.
of the beginning of that cutscene though, when he says that he's created a monster. He's like, "What have I done?" I like in my headcanon to think that William Afton forced Henry to create the fun times because he tricked Henry into thinking that they could bring back Charlotte. Because I like the idea that the crying child died first, then he killed Charlotte as revenge for for Henry's creation killing his son, and then he used that as like a thing to try to convince Henry that they should like try to bring their children back to life. So
Yeah,
I
I think
think
I worded my fin a little weirdly. Like, I don't like the part in the cutscene where Henry actually dies, but I feel like everything before he dies is really good.
mhm.
And that's like FNAF World at its best when it's not being like stupid meta jokes that most
So
of the time like aren't that funny.
I think that that leads pretty nicely into Sister Location. So I have very mixed feelings on Sister Location. I would like to hear what you
I've
think.
not played this. I've not played this location. So, like FNAF 4, this is the first. This is one of the ones. Pretty much every FNAF game after this didn't really use cameras except for Ultimate Custom Night. So he started to use like more like actually Roman of the characters. So I feel like most of this location is really strong, but there are like most of the other like it basically has a bunch of like the other like annoying parts about like the other games, especially Night 4, which is infamously really hard. And God had to release a patch to fix it to make it easier. And then he had to release another patch to fix very hard Golden Freddy mode in the custom night. So I feel like there's definitely parts in this location that are like way too hard, especially like the baby mini game, like with the cupcakes. But this, but like this parts where you're like having to like go across like below a gallery, that's really good. And it's like when like you know something is there and you're like preventing it, like when you're under the desk, that's like really strong stuff. And like and, like the designs are really good. And yeah, it still just has that annoying stuff. It's a lot funnier than FNAF World. Exotic butters. I like casual bongos. But yeah, it's definitely still has a bunch of those annoying problems that were somewhat fixed in later games. We'll talk about that later.
Okay, and you can disagree with me here, but I'm gonna go into my opinion right now. I actually really, really do not like Sister Location, like at all.
Yeah, I haven't played it. I'm not saying it's
Um,
good. I'm not
I'm
saying
not
it's
even. I'm
bad,
saying
but
I have played it, but it's not because of the gameplay. Well, I guess it actually. You know what? It mostly is. The
I mean, from
game
what I've seen, it looks like okay.
the game is okay the first time, gameplay wise. I like the sections where you actually have a challenge, but the
Yeah,
entire
that
game,
gets too scary.
the entire game is scripted, and I do not like that at all.
I forgot about that. Yeah, so, yeah, like all the scripted stuff is really weird.
And I don't mind there being some scripted events, but the problem is that the entire game is scripted.
I mean, yeah, like other FNAF games have scripted events, like how in FNAF 4, there's one night where it's like regular animatronics. Then at 4 p.m., they all get replaced with Nightmare Fredbear.
Yeah, and
Like
that
that's
makes sense, but
fine.
that is like a surprise and it's scary. But FNAF, like Sister Location, it completely depends on scripted events. I don't like that. I also
If
don't
it was
like,
just like the elevators, if it was just like the elevator stuff
yeah,
that was scripted,
and
then like
even
other cutscenes, like that
and
was
I'm
fine.
totally fine if there's some scripted stuff. It's just the whole game, and I don't like that. And the other thing is I don't like the designs of the animatronics because I think that they are way too futuristic and way too unrealistic for where in the timeline the game is placed.
Okay, when I was saying the animatronic designs are good, I was mainly talking about Baby because I really like her design. All the others are like meh to not that good. Like I do not like Balor's design.
I
Balor's
I
design
think
is
that their
really cheap.
designs are okay, but not for where they are in the timeline. Considering that Sister
I
Location
feel like they're better
is
described like in the books.
Sister Location is meant to take place in between or somewhere around FNAF 4. At least it can be assumed. Um and I do not like that because it's like it's just it's stupid. I don't know how to say it. It's like, why would these animatronics look like this? Who would want to rent out animatronics that's faceplates like actively open up and reveal the parts underneath? That just seems it's so bad to me. Like,
Somehow I forgot about that. Yeah, now that you're actually saying it, I'm definitely like regretting some stuff I said earlier. So from what I know FNAF's location, it kind of seems like it's okay, like eh.
I
Like he
wa-
definitely could have made it better.
here's the thing. I don't like the story that much either because I like the idea of being Michael. The whole getting scooped thing, I'm totally fine with. It's whatever. Um, Ennard is whatever. Like, at this point, the series went way more towards sci-fi and a lot less towards like serial killer, ghosts, stuff like that. It went more towards like figuring out why they're able to possess, and like William Afton suddenly wasn't just like an owner of the restaurant and a murderer. He was also like a scientist, which it's not so bad, but it leaned way too hard into the sci-fi, and I don't like that with the post-night minigames that Michael becomes purple, because that makes people think that Michael is William Afton, which would put the game as the first one in the timeline if that were the case, and the designs would make even less sense.
Well, those technically those aren't mini games. Those are just cutscenes, and
Oh
those
yeah, my
were
bad.
when you beat yeah, those were when you beat
The challenges in custom
the
night.
custom night.
So I want to give the game a D. I'll be honest. I want to give it a D.
Yeah, the more you were talking about it, the more I was like, yeah, some stuff I was saying was like a little bleh.
At the time, it was cool,
So yeah,
but going back to it, I can't play it. It's not. I just can't. I don't like it.
he definitely, yeah, definitely, it could have been like a lot better.
Okay, so now, FNAF
The
6,
second last game we played.
or Pizzeria Simulator, if you want to call it that. So yeah,
I
if you
think
want to go first, then go ahead.
I really like the tycoon aspect, like you making your own pizzeria and like doing like everything, and how like buying everything and then like choosing sponsors, and you
Mm-hmm.
gotta choose your sponsors carefully because of like the whole. I'm not a huge fan of when you like end with the tycoon stuff and you have to do that whole like computer thing. Like, if I'm honest, I don't really like that. Like, it definitely could have been a lot better. Like, with something like FNAF 4, I do think the atmosphere for that is like good and well done, but I just think it's kind of boring. Like, like, if you like accidentally look away to like a vent, like the whole thing, like whatever you were like downloading or something, it like completely resets and you have to do it all over again, and it takes like way too long. But I mean, like, the story is like arguably the best in the series. Is like that whole like ending cutscene
The end. I
of like
love
everything,
the ending. Like
yeah, like
it gives
everything burning
me
down, and
goosebumps every time I see it.
yeah, and then like the mini games like Midnight Motorist and Fruity
Mm-hmm.
Maze, those are really good.
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't really beaten Fruity Maze, but Midnight Motorist is cool, and I do. I mean, I like a lot of stuff about it, but it still like really annoys me, like that whole computer part. But I do like that you can kill Lefty in the no Helpy at the ball pit mini game.
Yeah.
That's
So,
fun.
with this game, this is the second FNAF game that I actually beat all the way through. Because I found
Me
like
too.
the tycoons were really fun. I love the multiple endings. Um, the part where you like scrap them or like put them inside the restaurant is like it's scary and it's good. It's well done. Um, it's just I agree with what you said. The part with the computer, like the actual like night shift part of the game, it's so bad. Like all the animatronics
So
have
annoying.
all have the same mechanic. There's like very little reason, like literally the way that you beat the game is you stick one audio lure on the bottom left, you start your task and you look to the right, and that is all you do the whole game. Like that's it. And also
What I did for night two,
yeah.
I just did like one task and like looked to both vents like four or five, like a few times, and then just continued and I beat night two. So it's just like really annoying because like all of them do the exact same thing, and I feel like the audio lore just doesn't work.
It doesn't
Like I feel like
sometimes
half the
unless I
time
don't
it just
like.
doesn't work.
I have a
Yeah,
lot of
like that kind of
ideas.
defeats the whole point.
I have a lot of ideas for how you could improve the gameplay of like the actual computer part, especially like even if like when the animatronics were in the vents they just had like glowing white dots as eyes or something. I think that that would significantly improve it. um
It would have been so much scarier if you could like if they're like slowly coming towards you if you looked at an event if you looked
yeah,
at event.
or like maybe even if they had like different mechanics for a couple of the animatronics. Like some of them can be the same, that makes sense, but if it, like they're all exactly the same.
Yeah, some of them can be the same. Like FNAF 2 has done that before. Like Bonnie and Chica in FNAF 1 basically almost work the exact same way. Bonnie teleports, Chica doesn't.
Also,
They can work the same way, but not every animatronic has to work the same way. Like that's what makes FNAF like quote unquote fun, and then like challenging the fact that they work in different ways, and that sort of leads to like strategy. Where in Pizzeria Simulator, there's not really strategy. It's just somewhat of a guessing game.
I just want to
Maybe not
say
guessing game,
also,
but you know what I mean.
yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I just gotta say, I hate William Afton's design.
It's so bad. I hate it.
Like it's so unbelievably bad, and I don't know
It would have
what
been so
Scott
much
was
better if
thinking.
it was just Springtrap's design
I
from
know,
FNAF 3, but more, but just like a little bit more of it was just kind of
and like the
like
thing is,
broken down.
I would be totally fine if it was just Springtrap because that would make sense. It's implied that
Yeah, like
6
you
takes
don't need
place only a
Scrap
couple of
Baby.
years after 3. So it would make total sense for him to be the same.
Yeah, and like you don't need Scrap Baby. Like Scrap Baby is like completely irrelevant. You don't really need any other animatronics. Like like I never really liked Molten Freddy that much. I wasn't a
No,
huge
Molten
Molten
Freddy's
Freddy fan.
pretty
You're not gonna see me on
uninteresting.
r/Molten Freddy.
Yeah, Molten Freddy is kind of pointless in my opinion. The whole idea of Scrap Baby and Molten Freddy is interesting that they would split up like that, and it makes sense because uh
Yeah, but them splitting up makes them feel like lovers, and that's really weird because they're just robots.
Well, here's the
I'm like,
thing for
what?
me is I personally sort of agree with Molten MCI, which is the idea that like William Afton put the souls of the FNAF 1 animatronics into the sister location animatronics, which would imply that the children obviously don't like William Afton, while Elizabeth, yeah, okay, Elizabeth would like her father. So it would make sense that they would split if that were the case, because obviously the children that William killed would not like him, while Elizabeth would, which would explain why they split up. But their designs are scary, but they also don't really make that much sense to me. But with the story and everything, I feel like I have to give the game an A. Especially with the tycoon, which makes the game feel way less repetitive. Are you okay if we put it above FNAF 1?
Yeah.
Just because the way it tied everything together. Okay.
Absolutely.
Ultimate Custom Night. What are your first thoughts? This is the last FNAF game ever made, right?
No, it's just the last one I've played. I have very, very, very mixed feelings on Ultimate Custom Night. Because this was essentially the Smash Bros. Of Five Nights at Freddy's. But it's really weird because there were like weird exclusions and inclusions that make the game like really that kind of make the game really stupid. And I just feel like there's just way too much like the infamous 50/20 mode, which I never beat. I don't like the Chica high school cutscenes. The the Japanese cutscenes are okay, but I hate the Chica ones. And the game can just get very, 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 very frustrating. Like especially with Toy Freddy. Toy Freddy is horrible.
Oh yeah, I don't
and
like
like
him.
some ways of dealing and like, with animatronics, like some of them kind of fit, and then some of them just don't fit. Like for what we know, about the characters, considering a bunch of them came from Pizzeria Simulator, which we just played, but most of the n- just came out before it, and most of them are ones that are like on stage, and we don't know anything about them, and that's like really weird to include them. Like I know why they were included, but it just feels weird because Pizzeria Simulator, you don't know anything about them because they're just tycoons. You just put them on the stage and they do a little wiggle dance, wiggle wiggle wiggle, and like like mixing and matching the animatronics is definitely fun. Don't get me wrong, but it just gets very annoying if you're like you like have like a perfect set down for what animatronics to deal with, and then there's another one that like completely breaks up your whole strategy just to get a just to get higher points. And like I like some of the challenges. The challenges are like better than other stuff, but I don't know. I have pretty mixed feelings on Ultimate Custom Night. What do you think?
I really like the challenges because I feel like they're like one of the only redeeming qualities of the game. Just because like it actually makes the game feel like a game with challenges to do. Um, I will say
That marionette.
I don't like that you can basically beat the game or I mean not beat the game, sorry. That you can get an absurd amount of points by putting on a bunch of animatronics that don't do anything.
That's what I did. I got like so many points by just pulling out animatronics that just can't kill you. And I'm like,
Yeah,
that's so lame.
they shouldn't be worth the same amount of points as the other ones, but it's not a huge deal. Um, I agree with
My marionette.
honestly everything you said. I do actually like the Chica High School minigame or cutscenes though because I
I mean,
think
sure, they're meant to be comedic, and I'm not gonna
no
lie and say
personally
they didn't
I think
out at
that
some.
the Chica minigames or sorry again cutscenes. I think that they reveal the way that William Afton killed his victims. I think that all the ways that Toy Chica like lures the different boys to her house is exactly how William Afton tricked the kids into like into letting him kill them.
Yeah, but I just think it kind of went a little too far in like the cringe humor.
Yeah, I
I never
agree.
thought never cringe humor. I do like the detail where her bag keeps getting more full
Yeah,
of
of the
like
yeah.
parts of like the boys that she killed. That's a really cool detail.
I just personally don't really like. Well, I shouldn't say I don't like it. I don't mind it. It's just sort of annoying. I don't really like the comedic aspect that the game takes at some points. I don't like the comedy all the time. Sister Location, especially, I don't really like that game. Um, the comedy is a little too far, I think. Like, I think that especially in like Help Wanted, Security Breach, and Help Wanted 2, they lean way too far into like the corrupt corporation thing. Because if you want the company to be believable, then they would definitely not have disclaimers saying that you're gonna die in the very beginning of the game. Especially with like Security Breach in the beginning of it, where it's like, when you leave, you'll sign a waiver saying that you're not responsible for, or saying that we're not responsible for anything that may have happened today during your visit. That's so unrealistic and it's completely ridiculous. And I understand that they're trying to show that the company is corrupt, but you literally get to explore the entire Pizzaplex, so why not show that they're really corrupt through like environmental details and stuff like that rather than just blatantly shoving it down your throat. And I feel like they
Why
lean.
not just have a standard warning that's not played for laughs? Like, why not just have a standard warning being like, hey, this place is like spooky doopy, woo,
Yeah, I know.
boo.
It's just it's too far at a lot of times. The comedy goes too far. It's too ridiculous. It's too unbelievable. Like at this point in the series, like you cannot suspend your disbelief any further. Like it's all completely unbelievable stuff that's going on. So, I think the Ultimate Custom Night deserves a B.
Mr. Hippo is funny at first, but then his stories go on too long.
I think it's funny. I think it's okay. I'm okay with that. Just because Ultimate Custom Night isn't meant to be the most serious game, and stuff like that that's actually kind of like clever comedy, I'm okay with.
So I feel like the people who animated or drew Funtime Chica haven't seen their wives in a while.
Probably not. Um, so are you okay with B, like low B?
Definitely.
So, what is your opinion on Help Wanted?
Definitely one of the scariest games. Like I recently rewatched Markiplier's playthrough, and especially like like when you play FNAF 1, like the fact that you can like look out the office and see like the animatronics like actively walking towards you is terrifying. So, I mean, a lot of people say Help Wanted is like one of, if not the best game in the series, and like I get that. Like it definitely makes sense why people would say it's the best one, because I mean, it's pretty much just like a best of, and it's like a best of. Like you get to replay all the games, but then there's a whole new game where it has like all like the tape collecting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's like there's like the multiple endings, like in some other FNAF games, like Free and Pizzeria Simulator. There's like again, there's a part where you get stuffed. That's like really creepy. There's like Glitch Trap, which side note I was always mixed on Glitch Trap. I think Glitch Trap is a little lame, but yeah, the game definitely has a lot of cool details that I like. Like for example, I like how the more tapes you collect, the closer Glitch Trap will actually get to you.
Yeah, I love that about
Like
the game.
that's really cool. So I mean, I'm not gonna say that I have played it because I haven't, but I feel like Help Wanted might have quote unquote the least amount of negative things to say about it. I could be very, 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 very wrong in that. Again, I haven't played it, but I feel like there's definitely way, way, way more positives, and there's only like a few negatives
Yeah,
that
so
people have
I
said.
I have played it, and I will say the build up to the release, and actually playing the game are some of the best aspects, and it is honestly it's the most fun that I've ever had with Five Nights at Freddy's, other than maybe Security Breach. But uh, Help
You
Wanted
would.
1 is it's so good, but at the same time it has so many problems. Like there's so many bugs that are just so easy to do, and everyone overlooks it because it was Steel Wool's first FNAF game, and like it turned out decent enough, like it turned and it came out in a good enough state. Like it wasn't completely fundamentally broken, wink wink, nudge nudge. But with
Just
Help
maybe
Wanted
like
1,
a little,
it
just maybe like a little, like twitch here and there.
yeah, and I feel like the mini game, especially with Curse of Dreadbear, it's so good. The game is amazing. I love Help Wanted 1. I just
I love Fredbear's design.
I do not really like the story. I don't like the
That's
idea of
fair.
Glitch Trap. I thought it was okay, but then like when Security Breach brought the idea of like uh William Afton actually maybe coming back, and then Ruin tried to remedy that with the Mimic. I will say, and I don't know how other people feel about this, but I absolutely despise the Mimic. Like when Ruin came out, I had been so hyped for Ruin for so long, and I'm sorry to people who love it, but the Vanny mask completely ruins it for me. I think that future that it went too far into futuristic. It broke everything that the series had been building up to. I do not
I don't know.
like Ruin at all. I hate the Mimic. I hate the books. I can't stand the books. I don't like the idea that you have to get information from the books. I hate that too. Um, it I can't stand it. I can't stand the modern story of FNAF. I like the games, but the story is just unbelievably bad. And
Focus
they keep
you up
making it
later.
worse by trying to fix it. especially when like the endings have no impact. Like Security Breach, when William Afton comes back, it could have been good if it was built up to, and if it was like implied, and if there was actual dialogue, or if there was like a story, or if there was an ending cutscene that wasn't just them running away. It has no impact. It leaves nothing. Like FNAF 6 ending was so good, and I was so excited to see the ending of Security Breach and see how amazing they could make it, and like get that feeling of the shivers all over again. But I have not had that
I'm
since.
actually talking about Help Wanted 1.
I know. I just like, you gotta like understand. So I think that the game deserves high A. I think that out of all of the games we have ranked so far, it is the best one. Just not the story. The gameplay makes up for it, in my opinion, which is difficult to say considering it's a story-oriented series. But I think that the gameplay does make up for it.
I do love the tape where she describes finding his body in like a little room with his face cut off.
Agreed, I do like that.
That's a
Also,
good.
just give me 1 second. Let me just quickly there we go.
Yep.
Yep. I'm glad we can agree on that. Can we just talk about Security Breach now?
This might be a 5-hour video.
Yeah, we're already at about an hour, so
It's fine. It's fine. I have enough time.
yeah, no. So we
Security
have been
Breach.
talking about Security Breach for a while. I don't want to go on too long about it. I just gotta say, the game came out,
Yeah,
was
we already
completely
have.
broken. I don't like how it came out. That really upset me. I would have rather waited another year to get a finished game than get what we got, because the story of Security Breach is so bad. It's so bad. But the gameplay, it's not great, but it's fun enough. And the environments and stuff, I've had a lot of fun just exploring the Pizzaplex. And I did legitimately enjoy collecting all of the items and everything. The story. No.
I absolutely love, love the idea of an open world FNAF game. That'll be that would be like so much fun and like so good. Security Breach, again, I haven't played it, but from what I know, it's just really, really, really weird. There's
That's
like,
the best way to describe it, honestly.
I mean, there's a rumor that they changed a bunch of aspects of the game because of like Fury videos. Like there's a whole there's a whole Game Fury video talking about like Fury's killing video games. That's a great video.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a part where he talks about Security Breach, about how like, is this truly the game they advertise? Because like the story and lore implications are some of my least favorite in the series. Like I hate the story implications. Okay, so yeah, there's a whole conspiracy where it's like it's like, is this truly the game that they advertised? Because I hate the lore implications are some of my least favorite in like the whole series. I just think it's like really lazy, like the whole comic book stuff, and then like that tally mark thing, which I believe as of now still hasn't been solved
Oh,
as to what those actually mean.
oh, the tally marks? Yeah, no one knows what that is.
I mean, maybe we'll get another game where it's like really weird, bleh. But I'm like, dude, like, cut it off. Like, make lore implications better. Like, I know I know it's not really Scott's fault. He kind of retired. So, again, like, I'm not blaming Steel Wool. Like, this is their second FNAF game, so it's still like getting used to it. Like, I've seen people really like lay into Steel Wool, and I'm like, you know, like, kind of give them a break. The game kind of had a rough development cycle.
Yeah, no, and I'm not mad at Steel Wool at all for how the game turned out. I know that they ran out of money essentially, and they did not have any more time to make the game. And they just kept trying to make it bigger and bigger, which is a problem on their part. That was their fault. But I will give them slack. And then again, it's their second game, and they literally Steel Wool is known for making VR games, and all of a sudden they're making a flat open world game, which is completely different than what they usually do. And I don't
It
hate
feels like
Security Breach, but the story is just god awful.
the story's horrible. Again, I love the idea of an open world FNAF game. Like, I'm hoping we get like a better one sometime down the future.
But here is my kind of ultimatum here. Security Breach is more of a game than any other FNAF game has been so far.
That does make sense.
It is.
Oh, it's like the first person view, and like you run, you see like your hands and sometimes
Yeah,
like arms.
it is.
Like,
And I'm not saying that the other games aren't great, because they are, but Security Breach is a game that when I started playing it, I wanted to finish it. I didn't feel like I was doing the same things over and over again, despite the game being a fetch quest, because the gameplay was always changing. And I find that to be a redeeming quality of it. So, as much as I would like to hate on the game, I would like to give it a high B.
like in between FNAF 2 and 3.
I was thinking in between. I was thinking better than 2, like right here.
I feel like it's better than 2. Like I know, I mean, I'm not sure if it's more annoying, if it's less annoying than FNAF 2, because FNAF 2 is really annoying.
Yeah. Are you okay with that being where it is, though? I think that it's better than FNAF 2.
Oh, by the way, I always hated the idea of Vanny. Vanny was stupid.
Oh, actually, I want to talk about that. Missed potential. Can we move this down to C, actually? You know why?
Yeah.
Because Ruin.
Oh, you were just ranting about Ruin.
Yeah, I totally forgot that Ruin was a part of that game. Dude, I hate Ruin with all of my heart. It's so bad. Again, I'm gonna quickly go on a tangent about it just for a second. Ruin. The gameplay is whatever. It's really repetitive. The environments are amazing. The animatronic designs are amazing. The story, terrible. The ideas, terrible. The like, oh my god, I cannot stand it. Gregory's drawings being the way that they reveal the different endings, terrible. The mimic, terrible. Everything. Ruin. And the worst thing is, I was so hyped for it. Like, literally, I had been waiting the whole year after they teased it. I waited all that time, and I was so excited to see how they would redeem Security Breach, and I was waiting for the awesome ending that it would have. And then the ending was just the mimic, and the mimic was terrible, and the way it was revealed was terrible. It's just so bad. Like, I could have done a better time. I could have written it better. Like, I don't understand how it ended up being the way it was.
Fair.
I'm sorry, I had to say it. I cannot stand Ruin. Ruin is so bad. Especially because when I tried to download it, it refused to open on my PC and crashed every time, and I had to uninstall and reinstall the game twice. But that's a different thing. That's not really Steel Wool's fault.
That's more of a Steam thing.
Okay. Help Wanted 2!
The FNAF game I know the least about.
I know enough about it, and I've also played it. I will say,
I can't really say anything on it because I know like basically nothing about it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't really watch I watched the first Markiplier video on it. I didn't really watch the rest of the series. I was like doing other stuff at the time.
I wanted to go into it a little bit. I am in Help Wanted 2, at least. I am okay with the story of the game. It's decent. Because it's way, I don't know, I don't want to say more believable, but the Vanny mask is like an actual integrated part of the VR, which I find to be interesting enough. I just gotta say, the mini games are so good. Like, Help 1 and 2's minigames are absolutely amazing. And despite the fact that you could say that it is not as scary as Help Wanted 1, and I would agree, the graphics are way better, the models are way better, and just playing it, like, not sitting, I guess, standing up and playing it, it is so terrifying. Like, they have truly mastered making VR scary, even in the times that it should not be scary at all. So,
Yeah.
I would like to give the game a high A.
Yeah.
Because I think the story is still extremely lacking. I think it's too far, though. I think it's too long. Like, it's gone. There's nothing they can do now. They've broken the story beyond repair, and I would just like to pretend that the story ends in Help Wanted 1, implying that there is a copycat killer of William Afton, and completely ignoring everything that happens in Security Breach about Vanny, because Vanny sucks. So I think high A, above. So it would be the best FNAF game, I guess. Mainly because the gameplay not being repetitive. I gotta say, the story of the original, like, 7 games cannot be beat, but the actual gameplay itself is also a large factor in that, and I think that Help Wanted 2 beats them all out in that regard.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to change here? Is there anything more you want to talk about, like, at all?
No. I said everything I wanted to say.
I think that this is a pretty good tier list. I agree with pretty much everything that we have on here. Actually, hold on. Can I make... Oh, yes. What do I name this?
There's one redeeming quality, and that's Santa Freddy. Wait, Santa Freddy isn't even in it. Shamrock Freddy.
There we go.
Shamrock Freddy is like the funniest thing ever.
I like this. This is good. Yeah, I think that's it. So it is time to say our goodbyes to the beautiful people watching that have survived into this. I don't know how long it's going to be when I edit it down, but the recording is about an hour long. So yeah. Do you want to say goodbye to the beautiful audience, Mr. Deez?
Yeah, I had a great time. Bye everyone. See you next time.
All right. I want to
What are we
say one more thing.
doing?
Subscribe now. I'll kill.